It could easily cost you a few hundred, if not a few $1,000s. Today we're going to look at some of the biggest mistakes that you can make with American Express cards. For the most part, we're ignoring the obvious such as not missing a payment and not doing anything weird such as cycling your balance. We will cover a swath of things though, and they can range from obvious to things that are more meta-based. Huge favor before we dive into all of this is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm, and if you are someone new here and this video helps you, then consider subscribing. For the first section, let's focus on the intro bonuses. Number 1, not applying for the Platinum card as your first American Express card. This obviously sounds weird for a lot of reasons, but let me explain. A big reason for this is how American Express targets people. It's kind of like dating. When you're not a customer, then they really want you, and they'll happily send you 150,000 points as an intro bonus for the Platinum. Well, I'm not ready for the Platinum yet. I'd rather get the Gold card or the Green and work my way up to the Platinum. That's fine, but it's going to be a lot harder to get targeted for that offer. Put another way, once you become a customer, they have less incentive to dangle that carrot. That's why a lot of the times you might start seeing 80,000 points instead of the 150. So as much as I love the Gold card, there is an opportunity cost that you need to consider. Let's double click on that for a second and talk about opportunity cost. Let's say that there's 2 Dr. Stranges, one evil one and one good one. The good one gets targeted for 150k, applies for it, and then goes for the Gold. 150 plus 60 in total is 210,000 points. The evil one goes for the Gold first for 60,000 points, and then they see the 80k standard offer for the Platinum. 60 plus 80 in total is 140. So the difference between these two numbers is 70,000 points. If you're cashing out your points at 0.6 cents per point, that's $420, and then if you're into aspirational travel at 2 to 3 cents per point, that's $1,400 to $2,100 in value. More on the valuation stuff in a second. If you are a time traveler watching this, then your numbers are going to be different, but the idea still holds. You want to put yourself in the best position to get the most value possible. You still can get targeted for the 150k offer if you are a customer already, but it's just less likely. On a side note, if you do want to see if you're targeted, I'd recommend using Card Match. I'll put a link down below in the description box walking through Card Match and how to use it. If you are targeted and the card makes sense, then consider using the link because it does support the channel. Okay, but I'm not in a position to apply for the Platinum yet. I'd rather get the everyday that makes more sense based off my spend. This leads into number 2, which is going to be Popup Jail. One thing you might notice is that American Express is very focused on the credit cards. Compare this to the other issuers like Chase, where they have trading arms, wealth management, and even investment banking. In fact, I'd argue that JP Morgan's investment banking arm is top 3, only behind Goldman and Morgan Stanley. By virtue of this, one of American Express's key focuses is swipe fees. They want to find people who spend a lot because it makes them money. On the top end, you notice this with cards like the Centurion card, which requires a pretty sizable amount of spend even to be eligible. The issue of getting American Express early, especially when you have a lower spend, is that you're showing your hand that you don't really have anything. If you're a non-customer, they don't really know what you have, so they're going to want to give you that offer because maybe it's a straight. Hey everyone, how soon after landing in Amex Popup Jail do you recommend trying again? I'm increasing spend across a few of my previously semi-soft short cards. This is how a lot of people get locked out of American Express because they don't spend enough money and American Express views them as not profitable. If you're a low spender, if you're not profitable, then why should we ever give you any more intro bonuses? To answer that person's question, you generally want to do $1,000 cumulatively across all your cards and maybe even $2,000 or $3,000. If you're someone that just graduated or you live in a lower cost of living city or you're earlier in your career, then it just doesn't seem reasonable to spend that much. In contrast, if you're a bit later in your career, then that's pretty normal. Unlike a lot of other issuers, American Express tends to be pretty chill even if you have very high velocity, as long as the spend is there. I'm pre-approved for the Platinum, got a letter in the mail, but still in Popup Jail. I like American Express cards. I think they can add a ton of value to a lot of people, but it has to be the right time based off your spend and something that actually makes sense. For the next section, let's talk about the overarching meta and how it fits into the whole equation. This leads into ideal ordering. On a note of velocity, a lot of other issuers will actually penalize you or not approve you if you have too many applications or too many new cards within a short amount of time. And in their case, a short amount might be 2 years. Other issuers like Capital One just don't really want to approve you if you have too many cards. With that said, generally speaking, you want to do Chase first and then pretty much everything else afterwards before American Express. So Chase, Capital One, Citi, Bank of America, US Bank, and Barclays, and then American Express. And obviously, you can skip any issuers that you don't like, that you don't want to bank with, but the idea is that you want to consider them to see whether they fit into your equation. I'd rather be in the driver's seat where I get to make the decision and say no to someone rather than them turning me away because I have too many cards. Let's do a super fast Chase 524 example. Let's say you've gotten 4 cards in the last 24 months, so you're currently at 424. Version 1 of you, good Dr. Strange, is applying for a card. They go for the Chase Freedom Flex first or the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and that person gets the intro bonus, and then afterwards gets the Platinum card. And the result is that they get both because the Chase application doesn't affect the Platinum targeting. Version 2, the evil one, applies for American Express first, and then now wants to go back to Chase. But they're locked out, so they can't get it. And the result here is only the American Express intro bonus and no Chase bonus. At a minimum, the Chase Freedom Flex intro bonus is generally $200 back for spending $500 in the first 3 months. Chase Sapphire Preferred intro bonus is 60,000 points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. And for that one, the net value is $505 once you factor in the annual fee. I'm not saying not to get American Express, just whether it's worth potentially $505 to maybe delay getting the American Express for maybe 1 to 2 weeks. Or a month or 2 if you have lower spend and that's a concern. On a side note, if you do want to learn about cards, whether American Express or pretty much any other card out there, and you want to support the channel, we do have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and down below in the description box. Make sure that the links are competitive and that they help you out, but otherwise it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you guys in advance. Number 4, once in a lifetime language for intro bonuses. Welcome offer is not available to applicants who have or have had this card or previous versions of the card. Assuming that the card is not going away and disappearing and just getting cut off, then there's no rush to get the card. Contrast this with Chase. You're eligible to get the bonus as long as you're not a current card holder of a Sapphire card or a previous card holder of a Sapphire within the last 48 months. 48 months is 4 years, and a lot of their other cards are 24 months, so only 2 years. This is pretty consistent with other issuers who are mostly on a 24-month clock as well. So for American Express, if you only have one shot anyways, then you might as well maximize it. This leads into number 5, intro bonus clocks as well as rules. A lot of people probably already connected the dots, but there is an optimal strategy. There is a right move order. Generally speaking, you want to start a Chase and see how that goes. If you like them, then you can stick around. If not, then you can try to date around and go for other issuers. In that case, if the Sapphire Preferred or Sapphire Reserve is not a fit, downgrade it to a no annual fee card while you date around. Maybe try Capital One for a bit, given that the Venture X is pretty good. Maybe that's not a fit. Maybe you're now having kids and you're focused on cash back, and Bank of America is a better fit. Or alternatively, maybe it's American Express because you're now traveling more. The idea though is that if you try everyone else and it's not a fit and you'd rather go back to Chase, you can. They'll have you with open arms and give you another intro bonus. By getting Chase first, you're preserving your optionality and also maximizing the value that you get. If you're someone that plays chess or anything else strategic, hopefully you can understand how the move order does make a difference. For the last section, let's look at the cards and the points that you earn. Number 6, one of the biggest mistakes I've seen is people earning MR but redeeming for cash back. That's not strictly bad by any means, but there's a lot of people who'd be better off of cash back cards that are trying to force a setup that just doesn't seem that ideal. American Express has other good cash back cards like the BCE and BCP, the Blue Cash Everyday and the Blue Cash Preferred. A lot of people are drawn to the gold because of the flex of it, but you have to ask yourself whether it's actually a fit for you. A huge reason for this is how American Express points can actually be used. In fact, I did a video on this a few months ago that's probably worth a watch if you are new. Main takeaway though is that if you have the gold and you're earning MR points, membership reward points, then if you want to redeem it as a statement credit, you're only getting 0.6 cents per point. That means that for every 1 MR point, you're getting 0.6 cents. So 4x MR times 0.006, because it's 0.6 of a cent, that means that you're getting 2.4% effective value if you're looking for cash back. That's fine, but if you contrast this to something like the Capital One, Saver One, that's a no annual fee card, over there, you're getting 3% back. And in fact, it's 3% back on dining, entertainment, popular streaming, and also at grocery stores. And to be fair, there are ways to get more value from your points if you are looking to cash out. If you have the Schwab Platinum, where you get 1.1 cents per point. 4 times 1.1 cents per point is 4.4% cash back. But that also means that you have the Platinum. Generally speaking, at least with what I've seen, the Schwab Platinum tends to be either an emergency valve, so I need money now, I need to cash out my points because life happened, or the people who spend so much, who already travel, and who can't use all their points. Think of the business owner who spends, let's say, $200,000 every single month. They earn so many points, they don't have enough vacation. There's also the argument that American Express points have more value towards transfer partners, so the upside for aspirational type travel, and that depends on you. That's how I feel though, and that's kind of the best use case. You can use them for cash back, but you're not getting the most out of them. Using another example, it's kind of like driving a Lamborghini through a school zone. You can drive it, it still works by all means, but that's not the full potential of the car. You'd probably want it somewhere else. Number 7 is going to be the credits, otherwise known as the coupon book of American Express. Most American Express cards have high annual fees, but also have credits to help offset this. It's perfect for the person who's already spending money at those places and getting value. So for example, I take Ubers anyways because I have to go to the airport every month or so, and it just makes sense. There is another group of people that probably should be discounting these because they're forcing themselves to use something that they don't really like, but they'll use anyways. And there's people like my parents who live in suburbia and just never take Uber. Outside of their annual cruise or two, it's pretty much useless. Tons of examples of this if you look through all their cards, but you see this a lot with the green, gold, and platinum, and those are their core cards. The point of this video isn't to tell you to not get American Express cards. It's more so to think about it and see whether it fits into your life and how you can be strategic about it before you FOMO get something that a YouTuber tells you is great when they skim through the negative stuff and maybe don't even talk about the opportunity cost. I have multiple Platinum and Aspire cards because I get value from it based off how I travel, but it's not for everyone. On that note, if you do want to learn about cards, whether American Express or someone else, and you want to support the channel, we do have links on the website, AskSebby.com, down below in the description box. If you made it to this point in the video, then leave a detective emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to harden and also respond. My question for you is, what mistakes have you made of American Express? So have you gotten it too early? Or maybe it was too late. Maybe you needed it sooner for your travel. Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favor, give us a thumbs up, share this with a friend so they kind of know what's going on. And if you are new here, consider subscribing. But otherwise, hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.